Hi lovelies, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you are returning. Now today I wanted to talk a little bit about mental health, so if that's not your bag then that's fine, but I want to talk about mental health linked to our tarot practice or our witchcraft practice or our spiritual walk, however you want to say, and how, of course, if you've got a practice like that, how hopefully it's supporting you when things get a little bit awry with your mental health. For me, my anxiety this year has been ridiculously high. It's been a year full of changes financially, full of changes with my parenting and the situations my kids are in. There's been form filling, there's been applying for grants, there have been health anxieties, just so much going on all year that my anxiety has become more generalized, like a fizzing, ticking time bomb underneath my everyday. And at certain times I've dropped my practices altogether, so I've fallen into overwhelm. But recently all of my tarot practice has come flooding back to me as a life raft in the stormy seas, and I really wanted to talk about my mental health and about the ways that I've really supported myself. The aim of this video is hopefully there's somebody watching who can relate. It will make them feel not so alone, and there might be some helpful tips as well. So we're going to give this a go, and I just hope it's useful. So anxiety, for me, my anxiety comes in a way in two forms. There's the real anxiety around real things that are going on, so things like opening post, things like having to apply for Tilly's college, waiting and fighting for funding, disagreeing with council decisions, phone calls to make. They're very real, tangible jobs that need doing as an adult and as a parent and as a special needs mum, all these different hats we wear. There's been a lot of uncertainty, and that real world, real job anxiety has been heightened this year because there's a lot of change going on. So some people deal better with change than others. I've realised over my lifetime I really don't deal that well with change, where the buck is continually stopping with me to make sure that change happens successfully. If you're a single parent out there, you'll know, or just actually an adult in this tricky world that we're living in. Real life anxiety also comes in bigger global things as well. We are in a time now of such global stress everywhere. There's real life stress, but then I also create like an imaginary stress. I will catastrophize, I will imagine scenarios, I will ruminate, and the story will change until it's catastrophic in my mind. I'm better now at kicking out voices that aren't mine, so it's not as bad as it used to be, but there is always a sense with me of another shoe is about to drop, and I know that's baggage from my past, where there were plenty of other shoes that dropped, that shook my world, that imploded my life. In fact, there were people happily throwing the other shoe at me over and over again. So it's a learnt response to life. It's an untrusting response I've really worked on, but it makes the anxiety go off on an imagined tangent as well. So I know personally that I'm dealing with real life anxiety and with imagined scenario anxiety, shall we say. Are you the same? There's two different types, isn't there? You possibly can relate to that, or perhaps thinking, what on earth are you talking about? But anyway, that's what anxiety feels like for me. When I think about my anxiety, I often use words, and I've used them a lot in the last few months actually, of spinning. It feels like my entire brain and my ability to think is spinning. So spinning is one. I use the phrase squirrel brain as well. Sometimes I can't answer people and I say, I'm sorry, I can't take in what you've just said. I can't reply to you. I can't get a thought or a sentence straight because my brain has gone squirrel brained, I say. When I think of that spinning feeling or that squirrel brain feeling, I tried to find a clip of a cartoon I used to watch when I was a kid, the cartoon Top Cat. Now, Top Cat was a really cool alley cat that lived inside a dustbin down an alley. And in my life, I can remember a scene where his alarm clock goes off and makes his brain get stars going around it. But I couldn't find that clip anywhere. All I could find was a clip of him going to bed in his dustbin without his brain spinning. And then I thought, did I actually imagine that Top Cat had that sort of anxiety moment at any point? If I imagine that, because whenever I do get overly anxious, I do imagine Top Cat with the alarm going off inside the bin, but perhaps that's imagined as well. But I also think of this picture of Tilly on a playground roundabout ride where all the other kids were swinging on the edge, really feeling that spinning force, where she just wanted to get the sensory feel of the centre of the roundabout, to go to the centre of the wheel. We see that in the Wheel of Fortune card in the tarot. When things are changing, when the wheel is turning, I often think, find your centre yourself, and it reminds me of the picture of Tilly. So in all this spinning, I was thinking, I just need to centre, I need to ground, I need to slow the ride down. And in a way, that's what my tarot practice has felt like, and my spiritual practice has felt like in the last month, and it's been wonderful. And that's really what I want to share with you. How do we get to that point where we're not at the edge of the wheel spinning, scared we're going to fly off, but we're in the centre of the wheel, a lot stiller, feeling the power of the ground beneath us? How do we ground ourselves when we're spinning? So the most powerful thing I've started doing is using my week ahead spread. I wanted, when I got to this point of putting away an old week ahead spread, to have felt like I've sat still within that spread long enough to really get the power and the benefit out of it. So to stop the flitting, I suppose flitting along with spinning is another word that I use for my anxiety. So as I get out the deck that I've been working with for the last 2 weeks, my Cozy Witch Tarot, I am going to pull a new week ahead spread, and I'm going to share this with you and show you how I've used this to slow it all down, to stop flitting from one reading to another without getting any benefit from it, just to slow it all down. It doesn't mean that I haven't pulled other spreads, but this first layout 1, I want to show you is the key spread that every other spread comes from in a week for me now. So I first pull a card for the energy of the week. Then this second card is my lesson of the week. And I know I've shared this spread before, but I just really wanted to explain how useful it is if you are in anxiety. And then these next 4 cards that I'm laying out don't really have any specific question that comes with them. I'm not bringing a question to my week ahead spread. I think I'm bringing a need to slow down, a need to control my anxiety, a need really to control my focus, so that my focus isn't flitting anywhere and I'm falling into just numbing and procrastination because I'm anxious. I think sometimes I do that. If I get really anxious, I'll do anything just to numb out real life, and I end up getting nothing done, which just is a vicious circle for feeding anxiety. That's anxiety food. This is the bottom card at the bottom of the deck once I've finished pulling cards. So that will be for, say, either a shadow energy or an underlying energy of the week. And then I've been using, you've just seen the Ancient Stones Oracle, which is a Rebecca Campbell deck. 2 oracle cards go with this layout one. The first oracle card is a card for like a shadow possibly, or it could sometimes mean the past, but again it's not absolutely set in stone. And then the second oracle card will be like something to embrace, or it might mean the future or something more positive to move towards. And with that layout, I found that this spread has just been so wonderful to work with throughout the week. So even if I use the same decks for different card pulls, when I've finished I will still refine these cards and lay them back out again, so they're always in front of me for a whole week looking like this. You can see the 2 oracle cards. I pulled the Cailleach and the Sanctuary, and there's my energy card there and my lesson of the week card. Those are the 4 main cards, and then the bottom of the deck card and my 4 things to look for. So that's what I've been doing, and using that as my map for the week and leaving it out and not flitting, and also journaling around it. It's been like an adventure really with tarot, where I've got to explore one place but to the extremities of each path that's opened up. It's not just like a quick dip your toe in at the lake, it's a complete exploration of the lake and the surrounding roads that lead from it, as it were. So viewing it as a map for the week has been absolutely brilliant. And I know I've spoken about this as well, but I'm going to speak about it again. Journaling, it's been brilliant to really pull everything out of that spread, and again to stop flitting. So the new thing that I've been doing with the journaling is that initial brainstorm, which I've showed before on my channel. So taking each individual card that's in front of me, and for each card separately brainstorming any idea that comes to mind, any question it might raise, any activity it reminds me of, the energy it might be pushing me to embrace. So I do that for each card. But a word of warning here: if you are in anxiety, you do feel like your head is spinning, don't use this brainstorm as a to-do list. That is a trap that I had to stop myself from falling into, because it just gives you too many things to do. They're just suggestions, it's just a brain dump. What does this spread, what does the initial hit of this spread make me think about? How does it relate to the needs that I'm bringing to the week? Where will it direct my focus? What activities might it lead me to do? And I'm doing that for every card, and that is my safety net, my focus, my map for my week, and I have absolutely loved it. So with the cards themselves and this layout and the journaling and the brainstorming, it's stopped me from flitting. It has really directed my focus, like this Knight of Pentacles, to take things one step at a time. Decorating, I was going up to the caravan, look, that's like me at the caravan door. I knew I'd got lots of painting to do at the caravan, practical activities, energy based seeking, it's all there. It's real life activities that are jumping out at me, and spiritual activities. The woman in the van just reminded me of like an alternative home, the caravan again, and like getting the jobs done, getting things organised before I go. The sanctuary, all that circle of rocks, I thought I need to look for rocks on the beach. So all sorts of activities came out in this brainstorm, which you can see here. So you can see There's a brainstorm for each card. There's also ideas of things to do at the altar, which kind of developed as I was brainstorming. The idea of using my stones again. I know my Weaver's meditation saw me using stones as well, so that was a nice carry on from last week as well. So much stuff there, so much focus. This spread and doing this and using this as a grounding point, this spread on my desk has felt like being in the centre of the roundabout, not hanging on to the edge of the roundabout, being scared. So then I took my decks to the caravan and look at the painting I'd got to do. This was my practical Knight of Pentacles, one step at a time. Let's just do it one step at a time. Look, I've got rotten wood, I'd got iron railings. You can see here the progress through the week. Knight of Wands as well, like just get that job done. It really, both of those cards really did say, no, get up the caravan, stop being anxious about the balcony falling apart, just take it one step at a time and get it done. And I was so pleased. I even got some beautiful turquoise paint for those uprights and I loved it. And it made the caravan feel like it was taking on a new identity for me, which it kind of is, because I'm not up here as much now with the kids as I used to be. You can see the second balcony still needs loads of work, but one step at a time. It kept me so focused. Look, this woman here is decorating a house. That's where the idea came from. It was on that brainstorming list around that card. So I felt like I was walking down just one of those paths. Also, like, get organised before I go. I did all my hand washing. I washed all my sofa covers. I picked all the blackberries out of the front garden, which I knew if I didn't do it before I went, they would all be over by the time I got home. But I also relaxed and watched the sunsets and mist creeping in from the ocean every evening as well, taking it nice and slowly, looking after myself as well. It was just all here in the cards, like being out on the balcony of a night time, turning my caravan and my home into that sanctuary that is full of magic. Really felt like I was walking this spread. There was no pressure, but there was a slow ticking off of jobs here that just immediately was reducing my anxiety. And every time I felt overwhelmed, I just went back again and again to the spread. Also working with stones at the altar. I came to the altar to work with the weavers again, and as I sat down, a white stone fell out of my bag that I'd forgotten I'd picked up off the beach the last time I was there, and I did the most incredible meditation with that stone. And also I pulled out the rose oracle to match the roses in some of these cards that I'd pulled. The message was incredible, and I felt like I'd created my own little stone circle, not by visiting a stone circle, but by using stones I collected. Through that week, I also made sure that I went down to the beach and found more stones. Stone scrying became a huge part of my week to help me ground and stay calm. And I also walked barefoot to find stones and did a grass barefoot walk every morning. That idea of the grounding I needed. It was so lovely to walk barefoot collecting stones and then to sit and stone scry meditate. I really felt again like I was just sitting in this tarot reading, doing all the things that it had told me to do, and it just brought such a sense of peace. So you can see it impacted my spiritual practice, it impacted the tools I'm using. Stone scrying now is such a firm part, even within a week. Some of these patterns took on such magical moments and magical synchronicities as well, which I will talk about later in the video, but it was lovely. And I don't think I would have followed a path from this tarot reading quite so far as I did to even get to these stones if I'd have just been flitting from tarot reading to tarot reading. Sitting in the map of this one spread and bringing a need rather than a single question just opened up all the possibilities to create sanctuary, to be in an alternative home, to tick off the jobs slowly, to go and seek joy. It was fantastic to bring roses in, to bring stones in. It was all there. And if you've never stone scryed before, guys, go and find some stones or pebbles, pick them up and find the story within them. It is the most joyous, amazing practice. I think looking back at that week, what this tarot spread led me to was to the magic that I'm calling still magic, which is what I needed with anxiety. The still magic of a early morning barefoot grass walk, the still magic of finding stones and meditating with them. They're quiet practices, they're still practices, even like just the one tarot spread. It's all still and quiet. Now we're coming on to spread 2 now. Now you will see straight away there are more cards out. So I really wanted to work with the second tarot deck. So this is the Destiny deck along with the Cozy Witch Tarot. You can see it's exactly the same cards with the Cozy Witch Tarot and the Oracles, but I pulled out 4 matching cards, and that gives me 2 bottoms of the decks. Of course I'm using 2 decks, so it kind of split the reading into 2 parts. And naturally, when I looked at the reading as an overall message, it really did feel like it was split down the middle. One half became the past, this half became the future, so a letting go and an embracing as well. When I looked at the oracle cards as well that I'd pulled, look, the cycle breaker really linking to my history and the past. That King of Wands came out again as the lesson of the week, me at the caravan on the balcony. Alignment as the what to embrace. Like it, you can't make this stuff up. You really can't. So it kind of took on a different feel using 2 decks with 2 bottoms of the decks, but it gave me more things to play with, and I really loved it. I think it also worked because that second deck wasn't pictorial as such, so I wasn't being swamped with too much visual cues. So it just was a beautiful combination. So exactly the same spread as before, but just with a second tarot card and another bottom of the deck. And this King of Wands, it's come out literally every single reading virtually for a whole month. It's been incredible. So for me, this was just a really interesting addition to my week ahead spread to add in that extra deck. It really worked for me in a week where my lesson is the King of Wands. So to trust my charisma, to trust my voice, to follow passions, to be a light. This is very much looks like a kind of home away from home. It looks to me like my caravan door, and this was very much me waiting at my caravan door for my kids to come back from playing on site. Some nights they didn't even come down till midnight, and me phoning them saying, come on, come back down, where are you now? And holding the light for them. We had a week at the caravan. They had friends staying for the whole week who I took up with me. This was very much the lesson of the week, to be the light bearer. Very much High Priestess energy in the mix as well. It was just the most amazing week. If I look at things that show up then, the 2 of Swords, wake up. What is it that you truly want? That idea of indecisiveness. And then the 10 of Swords with a hurt witch hurting other witches and curses. Really asked me to do some journaling, questioning around my spiritual path. This with the card of the cycle breaker. cycle endings, it really made me think about what I wanted, along with the devil card, enslavement, temptation, a real call to break listening to the voices of others in my head, to let go of the self-sabotage that they've implanted, and to get on with the job of healing, not to give them any credence. I think the message that came out here is, am I addicted to thinking bad thoughts of them? And if so, why haven't I let it go yet? So I did loads of grounding work. The 10 of Wands talks about grounding. I did loads of barefoot walking. The 5 of Pentacles, hardship and isolation. All of this part of the reading here felt like it was talking about the same things in my life. Moving forward, you can see the Oracle card talks about alignment, letting all of that rubbish go and stepping into alignment, embracing some rest and not seeing alone time as something bad. We've got the 4 of Swords here, rest, and then the Sun, giving myself permission to have joy when I'm not resting. Choices are all mine. And again, this call to rest in a frantic week where I was this person and this person for everybody. It was a mixture of the Sun and resting, and realizing that this is the new normal, not this anymore. Why is this even factoring in anymore? I've done all the cycle and circle breaking that any woman could possibly be asked to do. It was a lovely reading, actually. It was a lovely reading that was incredibly pertinent to where I am. I loved having the 2 underlying energy cards. I love having the 2 oracle cards. I think 4 cards just to look for in any way they decide to show up throughout the week is amazing. I absolutely love having an energy of the week to work with. I love having a lesson of the week, and I love the fact that you can get cards working together. So for me, this is going to be my new way for doing a week ahead spread. And practically implementing that, I began to think, what do I really want in life? I want loads of art, so I bundled me and all the kids off to the art gallery, and there was this beautiful exhibition of somebody using pieces of wood from fallen branches to create something beautiful. What a synchronicitous message in that. And I just took time out to enjoy the ocean, lots of rest time, so much beach time, meals out on the beach, picnics at the beach, picnics by rivers, and magic caves in this incredible setting as well. At least 2 hours a day in the ocean, dinners out at this incredible beachside pub. Oh, it was just wonderful. This is how I want life to feel. These were my new choices, and embracing the high priestess energy, not just as being in charge and planning, but also as high priestess, as resting for self-care. So much time spent in the evening on this balcony. Right, this month I've really been sticking to just working with this, but of course I still want to pull cards. So what I did, I decided to choose a card from this spread and then do further clarification and exploration for just that one card, and that's what I'm going to show you next. This has been another change for me this month in how I'm working with my week ahead spread, and I just wanted to share it with you. So this, what looks like a huge reading, but actually it's not quite as complex as it looks. It's complex because I wanted to use 2 decks. I wanted to use the Cozy Witch Tarot and the Destiny deck as well, because they've worked so nicely together. I've also got an Oracle deck, and I've got the Ancient Stones Oracle in the mix as well, so it makes it look a bigger reading than it is. But I wanted to show you this because this is what I've started doing to try and extend and continue to work with that week ahead spread without simply feeling like I've moved on to another spread. So for this week I pulled my week ahead spread, which you've already seen, and then I worked with that a few days, and then I decided to choose one card out of that spread. So I picked one of the main cards. I picked the Energy of the Week card. Now the Energy of the Week card was the High Priestess, so I took that out the reading and then reshuffled all the decks to get a new perspective on ways to look at my energy for the week. So basically I'm going back into that week ahead spread, and I am doing mini readings based on the individual cards, which I've loved. I've really loved it. So I think you could pick any card for this, any card that's particularly calling you, or you could go for one of those main cards, say the Energy of the Week like here, or the Lesson of the Week card perhaps. It gives you further clarification. It might also give you further practical pointers and opportunities for brainstorming as well. So the cards that I've pulled here are all to do with the energy of the High Priestess and how that's calling me. How is the High Priestess energy affecting me right now? That's what this column is, a card from each deck. This is near past, so this should have been a card from each deck, but two cards jumped out here. This is near future, so how is the High Priestess energy affecting me, like stepping into the next steps? Near future, again this should have been two cards, but two cards jumped out here. I love the synchronicity of that. Then near past, things to let go of. Two cards here, one from each deck, with an oracle to match and the underlying energy of this deck. So this side of the reading, it's like I said, the near future. How does the High Priestess energy affect me in next steps? What can I embrace this time rather than let go of for High Priestess energy? And an oracle card to go with it, and the underlying energy from the second deck. So you can see I've got two underlying energy piles, one for the past and letting go, and one for the future and embracing, which I really love. And you get that because of course I've used two decks, two oracle cards, and I loved it. And it did give me practical ways of brainstorming, because if I look at the now column, so the Three of Wands, making plans. The start of this week was finishing off at the caravan in Wales. I'd got all the kids with me. I'd got the kids, I'd got friends staying for the whole week as well. I'm the only adult there, making plans for every day, definitely putting myself out there in the ocean with them all every single day, in caves. It was just the most incredible start to this particular week's reading. And then the Eight of Pentacles, achievement, education, that idea of a skill set. For me, it was a planning skill set, the planning of a mum, really trying to give the kids the most amazing time. It was just so wonderful. The brainstorm for this is to make sure I write an achievements list and let those wins integrate, and realize that it's magic making in itself. It's memory making, it's magic making, it's all the same thing. It's like appreciating every day. So that was wonderful. That gave me a practical application. Going into the past, near past, letting go, and underlying energy. The near past is the Eight of Wands. So that idea of getting yourself organized and go, getting ready to go on a trip, was definitely packing, organizing kids friends. It was all there, being brave enough to do it. But how does that also come with High Priestess energy. Before that, I was without the kids, and I was a little bit sad about that. And I've got the Lovers, which is about decision making, and then recovery and rest. Also, what to let go of. The Four of Cups, restlessness and boredom. I think this really is talking about that week before I jumped into the activity of having the kids back with me, and it made me realise, actually, hey, rest and having nothing to do, all of that energy could be High Priestess energy. That need to actually look at what you do have, not what you don't have, to not view having nothing to do as boredom, but to view it as self-care, rest, recovery, treating yourself like the High Priestess. Also, this card here, the Three of Cups, not only is that a practical call to find my own friends, but also this is actually Tilly's wheelchair here. Some of the work that I was doing in the near past was to do with forms coming for Tilly's start of her college, and me being in absolute meltdown. Look at the underlying energy. It's contracts and information from the Page of Swords. I still have a whole pile of forms to fill in for Tilly's new step in life, and I've been getting so anxious, and I haven't been resting. I haven't been allowing myself to recover. I've been sad, I've been bored, I've been restless, I've been anxious. But look, this is Tilly with her friends, or this could be Tilly and me with somebody we've asked for help. This is really a new phase, and within this new phase, the wisdom of the High Priestess is really about letting go this idea that I need to do everything. I need to be everything for all people. It is okay for me to sit and rest and do nothing, and that was the lesson that I could have learned the week previously, which I didn't. And then the oracle card for this is the Cave, retreat, time out, self-care, slow down. The message is all there. So what I did, I brainstormed in my tarot journal, which is here. I brainstormed a whole list of High Priestess energy as slowing down and self-care, and I tried to incorporate some of it into the week. I looked at these witches who were going, but they were taking time to walk on grass. Every morning I went for a barefoot grounding walk by myself on grass, and it was amazing. It was so lovely, and I think I'm going to incorporate that more. I took time out to have a drink with my cards and my journal every morning as well. This was my sort of cave space. I began to really tap myself on the back for my achievements, and I put all the contracts I've still got to do out of my mind, and I allowed that to be for another time. I also spent some quiet time looking for stones on the beach because I wanted to do some stone scrying. And look, don't you know, but can you see the witch in this with the eye and the nose and the smiley mouth down here, and with a witch's hat with a third eye in there? So I've done some stone scrying as well with this stone, which was wonderful. And that's not the only stone, guys, because over here on the near future and the embrace side of this reading, I couldn't believe this. The oracle card I pulled was the Hagstone, energy shield, protection, inner strength. The Hagstone, I've only ever found one Hagstone ever in my entire 55 years. Don't you know, the day I pulled the Hagstone card, wandering along the beach, there sat on a pile of stones was my second ever Hagstone. The underlying energy is good luck charm, and to wear a good luck charm. So of course I'm going to wear this as a good luck charm. Practical application, taking this reading out into my everyday, looking for synchronicities. It was there, it was all there. And the cards as well, moving forward, it talks of some secret plans I've got going. It gave me King of Wands as a way to get there. Again, my Stalker card, it's come out virtually every single reading so far this month. it talks about a time for endings as well, and we really are, we're in that time of letting go, of transitions, of me stepping into a different phase of my life as the kids do the same. And the Seven of Cups, this I think is about where I let my energy leak, which ties in as well to the idea of protection energy and protection spellcraft. So loads of ways there to move forward with the High Priestess energy, trusting my gut instinct, doing what's right for me, knowing that as a divination witch I have the means to see the path and to implement it. So that is another fantastic way of working, I think, with the same reading without flitting from tarot reading to tarot reading, and I loved it. So choose one card from your reading of the week and do a now column, do a near past, do a near future column, do a letting go section and an embracing section, and just see what happens. So I also want to talk not just about the tarot spreads that I did that really eased that idea of spinning and anxiety, but I'm going to show you some cards from this Cozy Witch Tarot deck as I talk about working with the idea of liminal space, because some of the messages that I received in those week ahead spreads and working with those week ahead spreads was about liminal space. You saw me talk repeatedly about keep being called over and over back to grounding walks, walking barefoot on grass. There were the stones with the stone scrying, so beach combing, looking for stones. Now whenever I'm at the caravan, I always think about liminal space magic when I'm at the caravan, because it's the most intense place in my life where I feel the different elements meet. So the big skies meeting the huge expanse of water, so air and water meeting. A shoreline is naturally earth and water meeting, earth, water and air. It's a really powerful liminal space being next to the ocean, which is why I think we have a big pull to the ocean. Not only is it beautiful, it's ram-packed with magic. It's like riding the hedge. It's where worlds hit. I think edges of things are incredibly magical. And I suddenly thought, oh my goodness, that's what the grounding walk is. It's like a vertical liminal space. That's why I find it so soothing and magical. It's where my feet, my body hits the earth, and then the earth goes down underneath me. It's where the air meets the earth as well. I just thought it's a liminal space kicked on its head. And if I imagine myself as part of that liminal space going vertically, I become the bridge then between the air and the earth. And I think once that dawned on me, it just sent me through the idea of change is a liminal space as well. It's an emotional liminal space. I think in that last week ahead spread, where it was very segregated into past and future, that became a emotional bridge from one to the other. How do you emotionally go from one and let go to the other? It's a liminal space, but it's an emotional liminal space. So there was a dawning on me that all of this is liminal space work. And I think when we're anxious, anxiety is often caused by changes or imagined changes. We are in liminal space if we're in change, and we have a choice there. We can become absolutely frozen with anxiety. We can start seeking magic, and as witches, I think to seek magic in the liminal space is the only way forward. So for me, in the change of transitions, I could just think, oh my gosh, this is terrible, I'm confused, I'm blindfolded. but I could wake up and ask what it is I truly want. This is a time to world build. So here are my cards from that one spread. It continued on to be the Sun. Do I want to stay confused, or do I want to give myself permission to experience joy? In a liminal space, you're at that point of building something, making magic, creating the spell. The Hermit card came out in that future, what to embrace. And I noticed that this solitary witch has a pendulum. Pendulums are used for yes or no. What are you going to say yes to? What are you going to say no to? If you own your yeses as well as owning your no's, then you're building the sort of life that you are consciously making decisions of. This right here is liminal space, and how funny that it shows witches sat on the shoreline in liminal space. Liminal space for me, and viewing change as a chance for magic and not just as a reason to get anxious, was incredibly powerful. Oh my gosh, look at this next card in the deck. Two of Wands. Your decisions decide your future here, nothing else. Oh my goodness. And look, we've got air and fire meeting. A liminal space. Set up your liminal space. Seek out your liminal space when you're anxious and ask, where's the magic in this? Seek out the gold, mine for gold, seek out the answers, rather than just wondering if there's danger in the space. So let me also show you this second deck, because I know some of you will be asking. This is the Destiny deck, the Art of Tarot. This is a deck I did a deck swap with the lovely Sandra at the Whispering Well. It's a gorgeous deck. I chose it because the rose is linked to some of the roses in one of my spreads. I'm going to show you these two decks together because I think they are absolutely gorgeous. Like I say, I've worked with them solidly for 2 weeks now, and I'm just going to show you what they look like together as I'm going to talk about one of the last things. So I'm going to do this in real time with you guys, because one of the biggest things about this new practice for me has been that idea of consistently working with that one spread, but using it as a way to generate other spreads. So there are other spreads coming in, but it's still contained around the ideas of that week ahead spread, like what I'm looking at. I mean, look at these two decks together, aren't they? They're everything. I think I've loved them so much. So yeah, consistency, keeping the energy of that week ahead spread in play, in the mix, like bringing other cards out, like that High Priestess card, and putting it into another reading, using those singular cards taken out of the spread as a reason to do a new reading. So you're still really working in the same ballpark, you're still on the same map, you're still exploring the same location. I think viewing tarot spreads as a map for me, like this is the landscape you're in for your divination practice this week, and you can explore it with different spreads, but you're still exploring the same map. That kind of visualization of this as a map for me to walk around and explore and grow within has just, again, that's grounding. I'm not flitting from location to location. I'm in one location. It brings in that still magic, although there's exploration in there and adventure. I'm not running to different locations. I'm getting to know this place. It's stiller, it's not as rushed. We're back to that picture of Tilly on the roundabout again. It's not rushed, it's in one place. So I've loved that idea. That idea for me has really incredibly helped my anxiety. So I thought to myself, how can I extend that feeling. And I thought, well, why don't I use the cards that I pulled in one week's week ahead spread and let it roll over in the next week ahead spread. So at the point that I'm putting one spread away to pull a new spread for a new week, how about we have a little trickle over? So again, it kind of slows that spinning feeling down. So what I've done, I've got all my cards here from last week's week ahead spread. Got the cards here from the Destiny deck. I'm going to put all of these together and I'm going to shuffle them all together and let one card jump out. I'm going to put that one card into the next week ahead spread. So this is brand new, I've not done this yet. I'm also late pulling my week ahead spread because I've been in London. So I'm going to do that together. I'm going to see if that works. It's kind of my attempt to keep the map unified, as it were. Okay, so here are all of the cards from last week's week ahead spread. I could have found these from this deck to make it easier to shuffle. So now let's just try and get them all shuffled like this. I don't know whether this is going to work. Just going to wait for one to jump out. One jumped out, thank you. I knew it. I'm in a devil year. This is the biggest issue. I knew the devil would come out. Temptation, enslavement. Okay, it was going to happen. It was always going to happen. So somewhere in my next week ahead spread, this card is going back into the mix. So this is the new setup, albeit late for my week ahead spread. So I've used the Mountain Dream Tarot with the Bug Tarot. I've tried to keep that idea of wanting more of a pippish deck to go along with a bit pictorial deck. I don't want too many pictures in there. I think that will confuse the brainstorm. I've got my energy card of the week is the Four of Wands. Lesson to be learned is the Four. These are my 4 cards that are going to show up anywhere, just to look out for with their matching 4 from the Bug Tarot. I've put the Devil card out from my key deck, which is my rollover card from last week. And then I've got 2 bottoms of the deck. It's going to be quite interesting because I've got the Devil from last week, an underlying energy card of the Tower. I've got a 5 of Wands here as another underlying energy, and the 5 of Wands also comes out here. Interesting that the Queen of Swords shows up with the messages on the oracles, which are accept. May you receive what is as it comes, so just accepting truth. With clear, may you see things as they are. Very Queen of Swords energy there, very much so, which is interesting with 5 of Wands energy, the Tower and the Devil from last week. But the energy of the week is the 4 of Wands. So that's a really interesting combination for this week. I can already see where it's coming in, but I'm not going to go into it. I just wanted to show you this next setup with the rollover card. So I've stuck to the 2 decks because I loved it. I've stuck to the general layout. I've still got the 2 bottoms of the deck, but I've got a rollover card now. That's different. That's grounding. That makes me feel like I'm not flitting, I'm not spinning. It turns my squirrel brain into a peaceful brain. I'm already looking at my stones thinking, which stone can I use for meditation? Which really feels like this? I'm coming to this stone. This kind of, look at that. That really does feel. That really does feel like that's the stone for the week. Can you see it? Okay, so that's it, guys. That's my sharing of my own practice and how it's evolving to help me with really quite intense anxiety. I hope the tarot practice ideas, but also like the witchcraft ideas, like the grounding ideas, the liminal space ideas, the stone scrying ideas, also the journaling ideas. I hope that that has helped and been useful, or at the least just made some of you not feel quite so on your own if you're battling anxiety as well. So thank you so much for watching. I am sure once I've edited this video is going to be a long one, so if you're still here at the end, leave me a star emoji and that would be lovely. Okay guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.